Perfect. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our McHick meeting, our Middlesex County Housing Continuum of Care Committee. My name is Melissa Bellamy. I'm with the County Division of Housing, and we will go ahead and proceed with introductions. I'm going to just run through the people who are attending alphabetically and just ask you to introduce yourself. If you want to say what agency you're from, that's fine. Depending on how you listed your name, it might be first name first or last name first. So we'll just run down the line. Let me start first with Eileen, if you'd introduce yourself.
Good morning, everybody. Eileen O'Donnell, Vice Chair of this committee and Executive Director of Coming Home.
Thanks. And Amanda?
Hello, I'm Amanda Lyons, and I'm the Community Resource Coordinator at Middlesex College.
Thanks, Amanda. Aziza?
Good morning, Aziza Lloyd, Rutgers UBHC.
Thanks, Aziza. Cassandra?
Cassandra Jones, Coming Home of Middlesex County, Lead Access Navigator, Coordinated Assessment Team.
Thanks. Catherine C.
Hello, Catherine Cintron with Women Aware.
Hi, and Catherine from Community Hope.
Hey, this is Catherine from Community Hope, Outreach Specialist for Veterans Programs. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Thanks, Catherine. Chantel?
Hi, good morning. I'm Chantel Figueroa from Middlesex County Division Head of Real Estate. Sorry.
Great. Thanks for joining us today. Chris?
Good morning. Chris Kine with Garden State Home.
Thanks. And Corey?
Good morning. Corey Panatti, Soldier On.
Thanks, Corey. Duncan? Raquel. Sorry.
That's okay. Good morning. My name's Raquel. I'm the property engager here with the household support team at CC Dom.
Thanks, Raquel. Erin?
Good morning. Erin Stewart Romulus, Program Manager for Volunteers of America.
Thanks, Erin. Francis?
Good morning, everybody. Francis O'Toole with Coming Home of Middlesex County.
Thanks, Francis. And Jean Marie?
Good morning, Jean Marie Leach from Rutgers UPHC.
Thanks. And Jennifer?
Good morning. This is Jennifer Roach from the YMCA in Perth Amboy.
Thanks, Jennifer. Jill?
Hi, Jill Lombardozzi with Soldier On.
Thanks, Jill. Cassandra?
Good morning, Cassandra Sanchez from Triple C Housing Property Management.
Thanks, Cassandra. Kenya?
Good morning, everyone. Kenya Lamar from Monarch Housing Associates.
Leah?
Oh, sorry.
You're muted. You're good.
Sorry. Good morning, Leah Rumbola with the New Jersey Harm Reduction Coalition.
Thanks, Leah. And Linda?
Good morning, Linda J. Middlesex County Board of Social Services, the Emergency Assistance Program. Thanks.
Thanks. And Lisa?
Good morning. This is Lisa Barnes, Member Advocate with Horizons MLTSS Program.
Thanks. Lori?
Hi, everyone. Lori Friedman from RCHP Affordable Housing Corporation.
Thanks. Marco?
Good morning, everybody. Marco Zelaya, New Jersey 2-in-1 Partnership.
Thanks, Marco. Maria?
I'm not sure ever if it's me. It's Maria Patanzos with Women Aware. Good morning.
Perfect. Yeah, we got you.
There's always a
Thanks.
few.
Thanks, Maria. Marissa?
Morning, Marissa Costanton. I'm the Assistant Program Coordinator for Community Hope's Veterans SSVS program.
Great. Wonderful veterans representation. Great. Matthew?
Hey, how are you? Matt Crystal, team lead from Bridgeway Risk 1 in Middlesex.
Thanks, Matt. Melissa M.
Good morning, Melissa Mascolo from Mission First Supportive Housing.
Michelle.
Good morning, everybody. Michelle Graybell, Homeless Program Supervisor for Middlesex County.
Thanks, Michelle, and thanks for everything getting to pull the meeting together. Rita.
Good morning, everybody. Rita Mirabelli, DCA, Office of Homelessness Prevention.
Thanks, Rita. Paula.
Morning, everybody. Paula Terso, Volunteers of America.
And Road.
Good morning, everyone. I'm an intern for Coming Home of Middlesex County.
Thanks. Samari.
Good morning, everybody. Samara Rivera, Chief Housing Officer for the New Jersey HIV Housing Collaborative.
Thanks, Samari. Harel.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Harold Shukla from Aetna CVS Health, Social Determinants of Health Community Strategist.
Thanks. Evelise.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Evelise Bart. I'm the County Liaison for Middlesex County Board of Social Services from the Division of Family Development, Office of Program Operations.
Thanks, Evelise. Stephanie.
Hi, Melissa. Good morning, everyone. Stephanie Evans from Rutgers UBHC Case Management Services.
Thanks, Stephanie. Thanks for bringing the energy. And Steve.
Good morning, everyone. Steve Nagel, Executive Director, Home Sharing.
Thanks. Susan.
Good morning, Susan Kramer Mills from Town Clock CDC. I'm the Executive Director.
Thanks. Talin.
Good morning, everyone. Talin's data analyst from Coming Home of.
Thanks. Tanya. Tanya Asmal, if you want to unmute, introduce. Okay, move on. Tia.
Good morning. I'm the Shush Case Manager for Coming Home in Middlesex County.
Thanks. And Elmia.
Good morning, all. Elmia Walker, Housing Specialist with United Healthcare.
Okay, let me go back and see who we missed. Did we get Deb?
Good morning, Deb Kaufman from CCC Housing.
Divya?
Hi, everyone. I'm Divya, Case Manager at the Family Assistance Center of the Jewish Renaissance Foundation.
Okay, great. Thanks. Wonderful to have you here with us today. Catherine.
Hi, good morning. Catherine Jackson with Catholic Charity Services Settlement Touching.
All right. All three Catherines in the house. Wonderful. Janie.
Good morning. Janie Kazazian, Director of Behavioral Health at Volunteers of America, Greater New York.
Wonderful. And I thought I saw Melissa.
Good morning, Melissa Lewis, Middlesex County Human Services.
And Monique.
Hi, good morning, Monique. Lynch Crump, Housing Support Liaison from Catholic Charities. Good morning.
Good morning. Was there anybody I missed? No? Okay, then great. I'll just say welcome and thanks.
I'm sorry. I joined late. Carolyn Timmons, Brotherwood Johnson Hospital Violence Intervention Program.
Oh, wonderful, Carolyn. Thanks for jumping in. Go ahead and officially, did I call officially the meeting to order and read our little public notice statement? If not, I will. The notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10-4-10 has been complied with and shall be entered into the minutes of the meeting. A quick read of our mission statement and why we're all here. and why we do the work we do. The mission of the Middlesex County Housing Continuum of Care Committee is to stimulate community-wide planning and coordination of programs for individuals and families who are homeless, and unify and coordinate efforts to end homelessness in Middlesex County, New Jersey, so no one will experience homelessness and no one will be without a safe, stable place to call home. Next quick order of business would be approval of the October 3rd minutes. Michelle had sent them out on Monday. If I can have a motion to approve the minutes.
It's Carolyn Timmons, so moved to accept as presented.
And this is
Wonderful.
Catherine from Community Hope to second it.
Excellent. All those in favor, you don't have to unmute and say yes. We're going to assume that you're a yes, but if anybody has an abstention or a no, you can unmute or you can note it in the chat. And we are now on to our agency spotlight. And we are spotlighting not so much an agency, but a program. And it's a program out of Catholic Charities, but it's really a COC system-wide initiative, our housing support team, which we were excited to launch last month, and we already have some referrals, and our two staff members, Raquel Duncan and Monique Lynch, who are staff of Catholic Charities, because they're the ones who were awarded the contract to provide the housing support team, are going to talk a little bit about the work they do. And I'm going to just try to move this agenda so you can kind of see everything as they're talking about it. So Raquel, Monique, do you want to talk a little bit about who you are, what you're doing, what you've seen so far? And I'll just turn it over to the two of you.
Just turning on my camera so you guys can see me. Good morning. My name's Raquel. I'm the property engager here. I basically deal with the landlords and find the housing and get the clients housed. Right now we have a total of 25 referrals. I have a few that are almost housed. They're like in the process. So like the application process or like, you know, going to see the apartments. There've been a few challenges, but none that, you know, we weren't able to work out and get through. But so far, everything's been going good. And it's been slowing down a bit. The past 2 weeks, we haven't gotten any. So it's good because it's given us time to focus on the ones that we have since it's just the two of us. But so far, so good.
Hi, good morning, and I'm Monique. I'm the housing support liaison, and basically I assist with any barriers they may have to becoming housed, and also to sustain after once they get into their apartment. That I assist them with any issues they may have with the landlord, anything they can't resolve on their own. I would step in and assist them with that.
That's great. And how many, Monique, how have you been doing the meetings when you get a referral form? Let's walk people through the process. So what happens when you get a referral form received? What do you do and what's the next steps?
So basically, when we get a referral in, I will contact the client and welcome them to the program, introduce myself and Raquel, let them know what the goal is, and let them know, just inquire about what their family household is, basically what type of voucher they have, how many people in the household. They actually fill out a preference form so they can let us know what they prefer, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom. You know, sometimes we have some that just want a studio. We have some that have like 8 children, so they need a larger apartment. So we talk to them about any barriers they may have in regards to their housing voucher and employment, and whether they're able to continue paying their rent once they become housed and they no longer have the voucher. That actually has been like a little issue that we've had with some clients, worrying about, are they going to be able to pay their rent? They're looking for work. They have limited income. So that's been one of the things that we've been working with right now. But that's the whole process pretty much. And then Raquel, of course, she will start the process of looking into the apartment, speaking with landlords, see what's available, and getting the tenant connected with the landlord. Visit. Sometimes we have clients that we may have to go out because they don't have transportation. So we'll visit them at their shelter or wherever. Even if they are in their car, we'll go to them and assist them with filling out the packet.
And when you mention, because you deal with people who maybe have more of a permanent voucher, which would be like a COC voucher or a Section 8, but also people who have shorter term rental assistance, which might be TRA or rapid rehousing.
Yes.
So those are the ones you're talking about. You're kind of looking at, you don't want them to overextend themselves. You want them to be able to find a place that they might be able to support on their own when their assistance ends.
We have some that, may have a limit of 1805, and then they're sending us apartments that they're interested in, and it's like $3,300 and things like that. So we have to explain to them, like, there's a limit and that they can't go over that amount, and then also too, them needing to stay within Middlesex County. So what else?
I think that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah.
As far as the process, the groundwork is me, actually finding them the housing. Some of them have barriers if they have evictions, or if their credit is not that good. I kind of, lean more towards the private landlords that, own their housing. There's some that, do care about the credit score, and then there's some that's not. So we always, try to tailor it towards being able to give them the best chance to secure the house.
Right. And Raquel, for you, how have the landlords been responding to the program and being able to see it? And have you been working more on finding a specific unit for the referrals, or more just talking to different landlords?
So I honestly tailor it more towards the referral. So far, the landlords that I've gotten in contact with, even some complexes, they're open to all of the programs. So rapid rehousing, TRA, or if they have like a Section 8 voucher. But I, of course, go by what their voucher is, what they're eligible for. And then, I'll be able to, kind of say, okay, what area would you like to stay in the county? And then I'll go looking for apartments in that area. And then ones that I find that are, within the limits that they're approved for, I'll reach out to the landlord or the complex, and then I'll contact them, explain the program, introduce myself, and then I'll basically set up a time for them to, of course, if they're interested in it, I'll set up a time for them to go see it.
That's good. So I have on the screen for everybody to see, and just a reminder of who the program is for. So it's our Middlesex County homeless clients who plan on staying in Middlesex County. So if somebody, has I know sometimes the case managers work and sometimes they're able to secure Section 8 vouchers elsewhere, out of state or in a different area, which is really just focused on Middlesex County. You do have to meet the HUD definition of homeless for, the program, and you should have recently completed a coordinated assessment as part of our part, so we can make sure we have you in our system and we're kind of counting you among our homeless and among our hopefully successes in getting to permanent housing. So if there was a coordinated assessment done for somebody, but it was 3 years ago on a different episode of homelessness, we want one that's been completed for this current episode of homelessness. So we have the information and we know, we can see this this information is used by us to also help to see who we're serving, who we're getting assistance to. So it's important to do that. If you have somebody who hasn't done that, we're helping to connect and to make sure that assessment gets done. Because this is one other, tool in that, in our system, while somebody is, maybe waiting to use, some TRA or something, and maybe they, based on what their, how they score, maybe they'll come up for a different resource earlier, but we really just want to make sure we have them connected and in our system. So we want them to be to have that assessment done, again, to be homeless and be Middlesex County homeless, staying in Middlesex County. In completing the referral form, and Michelle sent them out again, I think on Monday or Tuesday, it is for the case manager to really kind of complete on behalf of the clients. Don't hand it to a client and say, hey, fill this out and send it in. Because we had some that were calling and trying to ask about the questions. This is something that your case manager should be doing for the clients. This program doesn't replace the case manager. It's not like this isn't a handoff. This is an asset and a support to help them, so the work that Monique's doing to kind of make sure you connect and help lease up a little faster, and Raquel with finding the units, is taking a little bit off the case manager, but not completely replacing them in the work that they do. Any of the referral forms, there's the website, housing support at ccdom.org. Monique's going to be the one really receiving them. She's going to verify that they meet the criteria. And then they'll be received kind of in the order they go, but people who have a voucher or assistance that might be expiring sooner than later might jump with priority. So we'll do that. The updated form went out. It really just kind of, it didn't have any material changes outside to just really clarify the process a little bit more. And again, so kind of say the things, hey, this should be done by the case manager. And we just cleaned up a little bit of the language, but the process is pretty much the same. We said it at the last month's meeting, and we'll just kind of reiterate it again. This program, it's just starting right now. It is limited to people who do have some type of rental assistance. So whether it's a voucher, whether it's temporary rental assistance, rapid rehousing, there's, something that they're receiving that's going to continue. I think we put in the referral form, at least for the next 6 months, preferably a year. It's an easier sell to be able to convince a landlord that you're going to have this funds for a year. Someone who's just getting a month's assistance, maybe through a program or security deposit assistance, we're not doing those referrals yet. Those will kind of probably be the next group we open up to. But with this start of this program, we're building kind of a new infrastructure, a new tool that's available system-wide. We are using this software program called PadMission, which will be able to track available units, who's using the program. But when that gets built out, so as Raquel gets out and talks to more landlords, for this time, maybe she's talking to a complex and they're, finding a unit, specifically for, Melissa Bellamy and her family. But as they're doing it, and that management office and landlord gets to know a little bit about the program and have that, it opens up the opportunity, once they see we get a good reputation of working through, that they'll have other units that they'll, make available or put in for people. If I have a unit that comes up and, maybe I'm not getting a lot of traction with my units, or I have to do a more aggressive marketing, because there's other units that out there that are nicer or newer, and as a landlord, it might be easy to just reach out to, Monique and Raquel again and be like, hey, you got any more people? So that's what we hope it kind of grows out to. We kind of start learning, hey, these are the complexes that work really well with vouchers and they get it. Here's a landlord who then will know if he has multi properties throughout the county to maybe reach out to us. A lot of our case managers working with different programs have successfully built these relationships with landlords over the years, and they reach out. Whether it's somebody at UBHC or, a different Catholic Charities Path program or something, they kind of know, hey, this is who, here we call when we have units. So we want to build that infrastructure for the system to use. So we know at some point, in the not so distant future, our capacity to offer more and expand that to homeless people who are getting only very short-term assistance, or who aren't really getting any assistance and are going to be private paying. So that'll be the expansion of the program. I saw Corey had his hand up before. I don't know if anyone else has their hand up, but go ahead for any questions.
Linda has had her hand up for a while.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Corey,
And Melissa,
Corey
you
did
answered
has
mine.
his up, and
You
then
answered
he
mine.
put his
Yep.
down.
Oh, perfect. Go ahead,
I'll
Linda.
go ahead and talk. I have two questions of the housing support team. First of all, I know that it's been extremely difficult to find housing for the older folks who are homeless and people with physical disabilities. I guess, how's the team finding, Raquel in particular, how are you finding suitable apartments for this population? I have a second question too after this.
Yes. So right now, we don't have many that are more so on the disabled side. I think we have like one client that we're working with. But like if they're older, I'll look more so in the like 55 community plus apartments. Those are a bit easier to get them into, like, especially if they have like like a low pension or SSI or SSDI. They're more willing to accept them. But so far it hasn't been that hard, only because we only have one that has more so like of disabilities. And we're currently working with her.
Okay. And my second question is, I'm from the Board of Social Services, and we do provide temporary rental assistance for people. The emphasis on the T for temporary. So we've been asked to write these letters committing to, which we're unable to do. It's really only a month-to-month basis. How is that being received by the landlords?
So majority of them are okay with accepting them.
Okay.
The only issue that we have is, say for instance, if they've already been receiving it and they only have like about 4 months left of the assistance to get, that's a bit hard, especially if they're not employed, to, kind of present them to the landlords, because, if I say, okay, it's TRA, and I tell them it's only for 4 months, and they ask, okay, if they're working, and then I tell them no, they're a bit concerned about signing the 12-month lease with them because they're worried that they won't be able to pay, the remainder of the lease term.
Right.
So that's been one of the barriers there. But if they have it like, for a year or like 8 months, they're more reluctant to, accept it.
Yeah. Well, at least from the board, that's a projection, again, it's month to month and
Yeah.
no guarantees or commitments can be made for, full period of time like that. So anyway, I appreciate your responses and I'm really happy that the service is there. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Linda. Any other questions or information on it? Okay, then, well, I thank Raquel and Monique. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, somebody just asked a question in the chat. They wanted to know, are the potential tenants or clients undergoing any tenant education, tenant landlord laws, budgeting, et cetera, to support successful tenancy?
We don't have that built specifically through this program directly. That's something that came up in.
We sort of do, Melissa. It is in the RFP that they will do that. I mean, eventually. I'm not saying that they have done it now. That they'll develop a tenant education program, or build on things that are already in place.
Yeah, that they would have a build on and a portion of that. One of the things that did come up when we had one of our last sessions was that, and it came from one of the discussions, I think, with our permanent housing. We do a fabulous job as a COC of keeping people housed. We have really low recidivism rates, but some of the comments from some of the case managers who work with people after they've been placed is that they're sometimes it takes a lot of work to keep somebody housed, and it's things I'm just learning. Sometimes general maintaining a rental unit, what your responsibilities are, making sure you're paying the rent and doing everything like that. A component of Monique's job is not just to get somebody into housing, but to also be that contact for the landlord and the tenant. If there's any issues arising, we know a lot of people, they're working with their case manager until they get into housing, and then I don't need services anymore. And they kind of sometimes cut that, or they're reluctant to show any any issues or vulnerabilities. So hopefully having Monique in this role, the landlords can know to reach out to her, and it's kind of one person as opposed to who was the case manager. Case managers change, what agency. So it's always going to be like one person or one program, even if they know housing support, and a landlord could let Monique know if there's any issues right away, and then Monique can then work with the tenant on, maybe addressing those before it comes to a point if somebody is having an eviction. But with that, an even a bigger part of this I would love to see something developed that we can do more system-wide, to have a more in-depth tenant education, right? Overall for the system, even beyond what they're going to be doing here between the housing support team and the case managers, a more formal, bigger structure. So that would be another goal and something that came out of the feedback. So, again, we're going to want feedback from this program, from the tenants who are participating, the landlords, case managers, the system. So, share info with us. We're meeting regularly, at least every other week with the housing support team to kind of just see that things are going well. We hope to have our first successes and to be able to say, yes, we helped house our first people through this. So yeah, so it's an exciting thing, and we just wanted to make everybody more deeply aware of it. Any other questions?
I had a question. I had
sure,
a quick question. Sorry, I don't know if this was asked already. How many clients are you working with right now?
I think they said 25. They have about 25 referrals.
Yeah, we have 25 right now.
Okay, that was it. That was the only thing I was wondering.
Yeah, and it's going to be, if it builds up more, there might be units that could benefit more than one person. And it would kind of then be, shared equally unless somebody has unless somebody has a more critical need because it's an expiring voucher, or perhaps that, it's a first floor unit and it's kind of, better targeted for this person who's disabled. So there's a little bit of tailoring and a little bit of, hey, here's something that might fit multiple people. Look like Linda raised her hand again. Maybe
Yes.
not.
No,
go
I
ahead.
did. I'm always curious, always have questions. So, remind me again now how this is being funded?
This is funded with CDBG-CV money. So this was COVID money that we had. So we know it can continue at least through 2025 and 2026. After that, another potential funding source could be the home ARP funds, which were another COVID resource that stretches out longer. We set aside out of that 5.8 million pot, at least 500,000 for supportive services. We could potentially even put that more. It wasn't specifically for this program, but if this is successful, as I hope it would be, that would be another potential funding source that could extend through maybe, I think we can spend through 2030 on that. I don't know if we'd have the funding to continue, but at least funding for the next several years, and then we could go out through that. So it's not anything that's gonna shorten. So we'll look to see, but as we build through that pad mission software, as we build out more units available and units listed, even if we couldn't fund the people anymore, we would at least have an infrastructure that landlords and tenants and case managers could use to assist tenants to, to potentially find units. But I think we have some funding identified, at least for the next few years. I would say at least the next 4.
Okay, thank you.
No, great questions. Thanks. Any others? Yeah, we don't want to build something to have it, not be able to fund it. So
I have a question. So all referrals should go to that email box,
yep.
or do we have the contact information for the 2 people that you still have cut off on the top part of the
Oh,
page?
Monique and Raquel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they have a standard, Catholic Charities email address that you can, get to them directly. Referral should be housing support. If they send you an email, they'll have their phone numbers on it. So if there's specific questions, but the process to get somebody referred is to use the housing support thing. But, they're making their emails and phone numbers known, once you're kind of engaging with them. So, in the Catholic Charities protocol for emails is first initial of the first name and then last name at ccdom.org. So R Duncan at ccdom.org or M Lynch. If you wanted to hit them, kind of directly with a question.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if there's nothing else, and I'd love that conversation, we'll go on with our just the update on our Continuum of Care program. We submitted the application on the 29th. So thanks to the agencies, first of all, for new and renewal applications, our technical review committee, Casey and Monarch, who did a great job as always in getting us ready, Eileen, and coming home. Eileen went over the application in great detail and did a wonderful job of, making sure we're capturing everything that we did. And Michelle for really just making sure everything stayed on track, or work with the TRC and doing the high level of coordination. And as you might remember, this is becoming a every other year process, so we won't have to go through this whole big process again next year, which is a big relief. So thanks to everyone who helped get that process in, and we put in for I think it was just under 4 million. 3.8 or 3.9 was our request. So we'll hopefully be able to bring that back in based on the good work we've been doing and the good projects that we submit. For our committees, the executive committee is meeting in 2 weeks on the 21st. So we will be looking at what we submitted in for our COC project. We'll be talking about planning for the upcoming year and really making sure what we're doing, kind of looking at our data and seeing what other system-wide resources we could be bringing to our COC. Melissa, do you permanent supportive housing?
Yeah, we met on Halloween last week. We had some costumes in our meeting. We had a Where's Waldo? We had a kitty cat in attendance. So it was a fun meeting, but we had a lot of discussion also about the Medicaid waiver and Medicaid billing, and the group is coming up with some questions and concerns and educating themselves about it. We met Jenna from Coming Home, who joined the meeting, and then Lisa from CFC shared some grant opportunities that are available with her organization. We had VOA, Penreach, Town Clock, CDC, Rutgers, JRF Coming Home, CFC, Reformed Church, and Mission First, and of course, Catholic Charities. And then we are going to meet again on December 19th at 10 a.m. And if anyone's interested in joining that committee, you could email Nicole Fernandez or myself. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks. Eileen, consumer participation?
Yes, we had a really good meeting on, I don't know, last week, I think it was. Because we always meet at the last Tuesday or the fourth Tuesday of the month at Mission First. Thank you very much. And this time it was at Amani. A couple things I'm thinking about. I mean, we discussed that there's this grant opportunity from Tia. Help me out here. Tia helps me administer the COC program. I mean, the CPC program from a federal agency, right, Tia? Who's it from?
The National Alliance. By the Susan G. Baker and Elizabeth Boyle Innovation Fund.
There you go. And so it's an opportunity for people who were formerly homeless, you had to have been homeless, to receive up to $25,000 for either a professional endeavor or a creative endeavor. Like if you're an artist and you want to sort of, have a show for your paintings or things like that. So if anybody's interested who's not part of our CPC, we've presented this opportunity to them. Please drop something in the chat. You can always email me. My email is right there on the agenda, I see. And Tia will send it out to you. The deadline for the application isn't until, is it December 16th, Tia? I know it's not until December, so you have time. And there are some technical assistance virtual meetings in November this month, right? Yeah, it's November. So we'll drop something in the chat or email me if you're interested for any of your clients or former clients. The other thing we talked about, besides we did get everybody voting information, we had done that the last 2 meetings. But the other thing we talked about is the establishment of a peer support group for persons experiencing homelessness or reestablishing themselves in new housing. And that everybody is really excited about that opportunity because we really don't have anything like that in our community. We're just talking about a peer support group not so much a resource center, but a place for people to see that there can be a light at the end of the tunnel, that these are people who were homeless, and some of them in the most destitute of situations, and are now not, right? And so, just for a place for people to sort of regain hope and to be part of a community group, even though they feel ostracized from the community because they're homeless. So we've been working on places to have that, and there are lots of ideas and opportunities. If you're interested in joining this initiative, even if you're not interested in joining the CPC, again, email any of those. Don't email Nicole because she's on maternity leave right now, but you could email me and Melissa, and we'll bring you into that discussion if you'd like. One of the things that we're doing that the CPC did participate in is in Mission First had hosted an intern from Collab Arts, Lane, who was creating, I think we've talked about that before. I think he came and appeared before the COC. He did. So we're having that book launch on Tuesday. Some of you have received invitations, and if you're interested in coming, again, email me, let me know, or email Melissa and let her know. It's on Tuesday. Some of us will be at the BFZ conference in Minnesota and won't be able to attend. But it's the consumers on the CPC committee were instrumental, I think, in not only helping Lane understand what should be included, and it's a graphic resource guide on on ways to install yourself and feel comfortable in a new apartment. Because lots of times people who've been homeless for a long time find that difficult. And so even people who are not homeless find that difficult. So the CPC consultants were very instrumental in saying what should be included, what should not be included, and more importantly, how to speak in a kind, calming way to those issues. And so that's cool. And so we're having that launch on Tuesday. Melissa, do you want to say anything else about that?
I think you said it all. And like Eileen said, if anybody's interested in attending and you did not get an invite, feel free to email Eileen or myself.
All right, cool. And as always, we encourage your participation in this committee because it's fun and exciting. Thank you.
I'm not sure what happened to Melissa's volume, but for the Homeless Youth Task Force, Matt, are you still here? Do you want to speak about?
Matt's on another meeting,
Okay.
so I know they did meet virtually yesterday. I wasn't on that meeting, but
I was
they
going to
had
say, if
Okay.
Matt wasn't, I was. If Matt
Okay,
was
cool.
available to speak, I was going to let him.
Take it away.
Now, go ahead, Michelle. Why don't you give a summary? I'm sorry, I
Okay.
had myself on mute. I forgot I
No.
muted.
No problem. I was like, at first I thought it was my headphones. I was like, oh no, what did I do? I was like, maybe it's not just me. Okay. So the Homeless Youth Task Force did meet yesterday. The youth point in time count was held on the 14th, and unfortunately, no surveys have been returned. Michael did he did lengthen the time that surveys could be submitted digitally. Unfortunately, we did not receive any surveys back. So, committee was discussing what to do, how to move forward. We think we're going to just put our energy into working with the COC and the full point in time and gathering data on youth from that count. the 2025 dates are still being decided. Michael has his calendar together. He's just waiting for some approval dates for the HCC. Once he has that, he will let me know what the meeting dates are for the Homeless Youth Task Force for 2025 and for the Youth Action Board. And so I will send them to you once we have them. And I think Francis said Eileen lost audio. I don't know if she lost and can't hear, or if she lost and
No, I
wasn't
can
able to speak.
I can speak. I just haven't, I was waiting for somebody to say something, thinking
Okay.
not that I said everything when I talked about the Consumer Participation Committee. And it
Got you.
was just-
Okay. Just
Yeah.
wanted to
okay.
make sure.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. So then coordinated session, the leadership team, do you want to talk about the Access Navigator sites?
Just that we have them and everybody knows about them. There was a little bit of confusion in the beginning, I think, with some police departments and thinking that the Access Navigator sites were more than they are, which they are just access navigating, which is just getting you into the system and can't offer anything more than what calling 211 does, but that stopped. So I think we cleared that up. And we still are going to have a coordinated assessment and leadership team meeting in the very near future. To talk about mostly, I think what we'd like to focus our attention on now is the coordinated assessment tool itself. So stay tuned.
Okay. And thanks. Any questions on that? All right, just a quick, this is really kind of more of a poll or just some opportunity for feedback. Here's our meeting date for the next year. We're going to meet again the first Thursday of the month at 9:30 with 4 in-person meetings in March, June, September, and December. So remember, next month is an in-person meeting. But the first Thursday in January is the 2nd. So we didn't know if people are coming back that day, or if you think we'd be better served putting off our meeting until the 9th. So encourage people to unmute any feedback, any general thoughts on it, or any preference.
I think the 9th would be a better day,
I agree with the 9th.
just because we have a lot of people out.
I agree.
Okay.
Everybody seems to agree.
All right. Well, it'll be the 9th. And we'll have that all noted. Well, you know what? Let's just take a motion to approve the meetings as listed with the 9th for January. So someone has that as a motion.
Yeah, I'll
I move
motion.
it, Steve.
Perfect. Second.
I'll second it. It's Corey.
Perfect. Thanks, Corey. We'll go again, as we always do, we'll assume all in favor, and any abstentions or no's, you can note it, but thank you for that quick feedback. And we'll have that list official and kind of go out, but mark your, can mark your calendars, or you can wait for Michelle to send the notices and then just accept the Teams things and you'll have them populated. I'll also use that time if you have anybody else in your group, maybe who you've been just forwarding Michelle's emails to about our meeting notices. If you want them to be included on our email list, then just reach out and email Michelle and she can do it. So it'll be a good time as we're getting ready to send out the announcements for 2025 on the meeting dates. All right, our COC builds NOFA. We've had this on the agenda the past couple months, so we're getting down to the 2 weeks from when we have to submit. We had our loan applicant, Town Clock CDC. So we've been working with them to hopefully strengthen the application as much as possible. Ashley from Monarch has been a great help to this process. She was the one assigned to us to do this. The project that Town Clock CDC is proposing. Well, I don't know if Susan, did you want to give like a quick, just like a 1-minute description of what you're proposing to do?
Good morning.
Good morning. Figured you could tell it better than I could. And sorry for putting you on the spot. She didn't know I was going to call on her, so.
No, I didn't. I hope you all can hear me.
Yeah.
So Town Clock CDC has had 10 apartments in one building of First Reformed Church in the sanctuary building. And then on the campus, there is a really sweet little Victorian house that the COC also helped us remodel in 2020 during COVID. Haha. And then there's a third building, a very large building on the campus of First Reformed Church. It's called the Education Building, built in the 1800s and has about 10,000 square feet that are not being utilized to its fullest extent. And Town Clock is working with the church to develop that historic building and put in 7 more apartments for affordable housing for survivors of domestic violence. And in the course of that, also renovating the entire building to make it community space, renovate the kitchen to make it a training kitchen and teaching kitchen for the residents and expand our programming thus. And also the basement area would be an expanded food and clothing pantry. So that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, it's a really nice, it's a really great project. So we're excited to put it forward. We kind of wish this opportunity came out maybe like 6 months from now when it'd be a little further along with some of their plans, but we're, marching forward for it with it anyway and hoping for the best. It's going to be highly competitive. But one of the reasons we're pushing forward with this grant application is to show HUD the demand is there. So we hope that matters and then that might see some funding in the future. So that's our game plan and we'll see what happens with that after 2 weeks when we submit it.
Yeah.
So good luck to Town Clock CDC and us.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Next on the agenda, just more talking about the Medicaid waiver. And wanted to just make you aware, I know it was sent out. Michelle forwarded it from Michael Callahan, sent it out, I think, late last week about a grant opportunity from them, New Jersey Family Care Housing Support Provider Readiness Program. So for agencies who aren't currently Medicaid, who don't normally do Medicaid billing to become one, this would give you some grant dollar supports and help build some of your capacity. The deadline to submit for this is next month on the 16th, but there's a mandatory technical assistance session on the 26th, and the link is right in there. Eileen is our resident expert on the Medicaid, the waiver and how this is gonna go. So I don't know if she had anything she wanted to add to this.
I just wanted to add, Michelle also sent it out to everybody. There's like a Medicaid 101, or as my board members call it, Medicaid for Dummies. If anybody doesn't really know Medicaid and would like to get a background and a basis before they dive into, being a provider, that's today at 11:30. There's a webinar on that. And you have to have registered to get the link, but it came out from Michelle, so just like search her in your, or I don't know if Michelle will send it again if you're interested, but you could just search her in your email box and you'll find it. You can do it like right now and you'll still get the link.
Cool. All right. Next item on our agenda is what we've lovingly referred to as our Making Shifts Happen, our United for Homeless Solutions, which is a combination of our 3DM program, which provided us with Talon as our data extraordinaire person who's now employed by Coming Home. and the Built for Zero work that we've been working with Community Solutions for a while. Coming Home had deployed the senior survey. They were supposed to be back a week ago on the 1st. So hopefully all the agencies got them back and got people, homeless people who were over 50 to complete the survey so we can kind of get some feedback on some of their needs, maybe technology challenges, because as you see on the agenda and heard from past meetings that we saw through a deeper look at some data that people have longer lengths of homelessness before finding permanent housing when they were seniors. It kind of went up directly with their age up until about age 65 when it dropped. And that's probably just because of some deeper senior resources for people 62 and plus. So Coming Home through Talon will be taking a look at all the results of those surveys, and we'll see what that maybe helps tell us what to do. With that, and if there's any strategies we can deploy that might make it a little bit easier. We know that part of having the housing support team should definitely help everybody with that, both on the identifying units, the job that Raquel's doing, and with Monique on just making sure all the paperwork's getting done and being receptive and being able to even, go in person and meet with people to make things happen. A lot of the apartment searching is really moved online and requires tech filling out forms and getting things done more electronically. And sometimes older people or people who have disabilities or, in more challenging homelessness situations can find that, extra challenges. So we're excited to see where that's going. There you see where our aims were. I don't know where we'll be at the end of the year. We'll see how close we're getting towards our goal. But we'll kind of continue to focus on these work. Most specifically, next week, there's a small group of us who will be attending the Built for Zero fall learning session. And we can kind of fine tune and build out these. We haven't been able to do as much work in spreading out in some of these areas. I mean, we did launch the housing support team to hopefully increase housing placements and reduce hopefully chronic homelessness. We've had some different initiatives with some diversion expansions to hopefully decrease system inflow. But we want to look a little bit more at what we're doing. Talon and the Coming Home team have done some wonders cleaning up some of the old HIMSS data and trying to get us current, and that we're in a better place knowing how many people are homeless at any given point in time and can better measure our inflow and our outflow and some of the other metrics. So this is kind of the start of, if you remember, I said now we're going on a 2-year process with the COC. It gives us an opportunity this coming year in calendar year 2025 to get some really good metrics and really hopefully drive the homeless numbers down and length of homelessness and to better serve the people in our systems. So we're want to really dedicate 2025 to doing the work that we've identified, knowing that we won't have to go through that big, long process that takes a lot of capacity and man hours submitting that annual application. So it's the year to do it. This will be kind of the start of the kicking it off, and you should hear more about it at our in-person session in December. So any questions on that?
I was just going to add something about the surveys.
Please.
Yeah, so let me so I don't know how to lower my hand. There we go. Anyway, so we did receive, we gave a month for the surveys to be returned. We did receive 66, which is fewer than we had hoped, but better than, as Francis would say, better than a kick in the head. So we're almost done entering the data, and we will do some data analysis next week. But we promised an incentive to the agency that returned the most surveys, and so we will honor them at our December meeting with a breakfast for all. Stay tuned.
Cool. Everybody likes a good incentive. Agency updates. So go ahead, Eileen.
I'll just pass this to Cassandra because she has a lot of trainings listed. Because I mean, what's been going really good is that Tallinn has been working like crazy over the summer to clean up our HIMIS, and then he and Cassandra have run a couple of HIMIS trainings and coordinated assessment trainings, so that we don't spend all of Tallinn's time cleaning up. As I say in the beginning of these trainings, we didn't hire him as a garbage man. And so that's going really well. And there's some more trainings planned. Cassandra?
Okay. Hi, everybody. So we have two coordinated assessment trainings scheduled for November 18th. Part 1 is at 10 a.m. That will be for everyone who completes and submit the coordinated assessment through HIMIS. So I know a lot of our shelter staff does that as well as our own staff. And then part 2 at 11:30, everyone needs to attend both sessions. Everyone who uses HIMIS to submit a coordinated assessment must attend both sessions. So the 11:30 session is definitely for everyone who does them by paper. So everyone from all of our other agencies like DCPMP, UBHC, and so on and so forth throughout the community. And because we're doing the training on that Monday, our case conference call is going to be moved to the 21st, which is that Thursday following. So hopefully no one is submitting poor coordinated assessments after the 18th. And we're going to do that on Teams. And then our December case conference call is going to be December 10th in person. And we'll do a potluck just to end the year off. And because everybody's going to be on vacation, with the holidays coming up. And for those that do attend Case Managers Collaborative, that is every second Friday. So tomorrow at 11 a.m. That's it.
Thanks, Cassandra.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I just want to say we've been talking all along about, agencies owning their own data and their own processes, and we really need them to. And so we have a list of HIMIS leads. So any errors that we find in HIMIS, we will be communicating with the HIMIS lead so that they can keep track of everything that's going on in their agency. And then we have the supervisors of people who complete coordinated assessments, and if things are being continually done different, wrong, nobody's telling on anybody. It's just that as I've said to everybody at the beginning of the trainings, you guys are the most important, like the frontline people who, see the clients, who enter the data into HIMIS, who do the coordinated assessments. We're all like this leadership team. Big deal because it's the frontline people who make the system work. So we're going to try to do our best to help you help everybody else do these things well. And that's the reason for all these trainings and by insisting that they're mandatory. So thank you very much.
Okay. Can you, I only have one screen, so I have to I'm gonna, can you read, Michelle, what was in the chat?
Yeah, so a question was asked for, in addition to the surveys, what's being done to engage the Aging Disability Network? Because there's really a lack of senior center people who attend the COC meetings.
And was that more for coordinated assessment, more for me, on case managers? I'm not sure which part it was directed to. And I guess Melissa's having phone difficulties.
audio
maybe
issues,
the
yeah.
Audio's issues.
I mean, I would
So
think it's just asking, and maybe it just a general question because it's in addition to the surveys that were sent out for coordinated assessment. Like what else is any other engagement that's being done?
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that we could, I think the surveys were put out as kind of the first step to really identify and see, but then, it also begs to the question of what we do more to connect in with that existing network and to make sure we're letting people be aware of the other resources beyond the homeless resources for seniors and or disabled. So I think then there's a little bit more about that we can build out the education for the case managers, and maybe that kind of relates in with the case managers collaborative, or maybe that's an opportunity for some future discussions and to make sure, much what we have an agency spotlight, maybe something along those lines for it to make sure everybody's aware of what are some of the other senior resources. So it's another potential opportunity we should develop and take a look at coming into 2025. So I think it hasn't been anything more formal, but I think it definitely could be a great idea and something we could definitely pursue.
Right. And Melissa, if you recall, I mean, I think that's one of the things that you just said about using resources other than from the COC. That's one of the things that the leadership team put on the logic model for when we did the 3DM training and presentation. And so we just tried to kick off some of the things. And instead of making the survey just about technology, there were case managers, we had workshop the survey, and people said, let's not just make it about technology. Let's put in more questions in there. So let's see what we found out from that. It's not exhaustive, but yeah, we definitely acknowledged that there was more things that we can do, and we just got to get to doing them.
Okay. Cool. The next thing, and I think everyone was sent sent some info on it. A call to Men's Training Institute, a virtual training institute for gender and racial justice on December 4th and 5th. It was a virtual training, 2 half-day sessions. So you have to commit to attending the entire event. So you've got that information. Hopefully that will people will be interested and take part in that. Any other agency? I'm going to stop my screen share so I can see, get back to the meeting part. But any other questions, announcements, things you want to make known from your agency? Go ahead, Lisa.
So we have a community resource development fund that is available for fiscal year 26. Proposals, RFPs are due by January 22nd. We have identified 5 areas of need. And what I can do is drop the link here in the chat. It's connected and announced from our website. It's within the Children's System of Care Fund, so it is a DCF fund, Department of Children and Families. And we are looking for different programs, either as expansive, so things that may already be running within your organizations, or or things that you are looking to create or can create to meet any of these 5 needs. They all need to have some component of EDI included, but I will drop the info in the chat, and I believe the grant is for 67,000 and change. So if anyone's interested in applying, you have time, but we all know that the holidays in the blink of an eye will be here and then gone, and then we'll be in January. So any questions, you can definitely reach out to me. Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. Anybody else?
Melissa, I just wanted to let everybody know, Homeless Persons Memorial Day, unfortunately, I had a few agencies step up and show interest in hosting. I did speak with them. They unfortunately all fell through for one reason or another. So we are trying to finalize the location hopefully this week for Homeless Persons Memorial Day. So once I do have that information, I will share it with everybody, but it is Saturday, December 21st. And for Project Homeless Connect, because that's also right around the corner, I will be reaching out if your agency has participated in the past. If you would like to host a table at an in-person location, or if you would like to collect donations, just, I'll be in touch or reach out to me, and we can coordinate any donations. And if you want to have a table, or if you want to just drop off materials.
Great. It's that wonderful time of the year where we have those two big events back to back. Lori.
Yeah, hi. So I'm wondering, I somehow missed the deadline this year of Toys for Tots. I don't know if they closed their applications earlier, but I'm just wondering if anyone knows of other organizations doing it. I mean, there's a like giving tree at the church, but just looking for other opportunities to get holiday gifts for the families in our PSH programs.
Anyone have any info for Lori?
Well, okay then.
Sorry. Thanks. Any other announcements? Okay, then I will take a motion to adjourn, and we will see everybody in person at the Fire Academy for our December meeting on the 5th.
So moved.
Thanks. We got a second?
With a wish for a happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Take care. We'll adjourn
You too.
10:49.
Thanks.
Bye.
Be well.
Take
Thank you.
care.
Bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.